YouTube.
What's up, everybody? My name is Scott. I'm here at American Off-Road Customs in Las Vegas, Nevada, and this is my 2023 goat-built Jesse Haynes rock crawler. This is a two-seat rock buggy chassis from a company called Goat Built out of Wisconsin. I built this whole thing in my garage at home. The entire thing is DIY as can be. Like, I'm proud of it, and it works. So, figured we'd give you guys like just a quick walk around, kind of show you what goes into a car like this. And yeah, this is a two-seat tube chassis. The powertrain is really common for a car of this nature. It's a LS engine with a turbo 400 automatic and a Atlas 2-speed transfer case. The axles are 1 tons, good old GM 14 bolt in the rear, and a late model Ford Dana 60 up front. Turning a 43-inch sticky Super Swamper through some big old chromoly axle shafts. I've got an ARB locker in the rear end of this one and a spool in the front, because on a rock buggy you pretty much never unlock the front. It's just always pulling. It's a pretty common, pretty basic build as far as a 2-seat trail car goes. And if you come over here, we'll show you a little bit more about it. So up front, like I said, we got a late model Ford Dana 60. This is what you'd find underneath 2005 or newer Super Duty, with the PSC 2.5 by 10-inch ram on here. It gets 50 degrees of steering, triangulated 4-link front and rear, coilovers. I run a Radflo 2.0 coilover, bought right here from American Off-Road Customs. Got a Warren winch, because they're the best. Let's see, what else? Running Raceline wheels and Interco Super Swamper tires. These are really great wheels. I actually purchased these through American Off-Road Customs, along with a whole bunch of other stuff on this car. They've been super helpful along this whole process. They've gotten me all the parts that I need, and they're just great people to deal with. Like I said, we've got a V8 in here. This is a 6-liter LS. It's hiding in there. It's kind of hard to see, but it's a 6-liter LS with a big cam, big intake manifold. Should make 425, 450 horse. I've never had it on a dyno, but it gets down. It's fun. All right, so like I said, we got a big old American V8 in here, right? This is a 6-liter LS engine. I'll be perfectly honest, this is a junkyard motor. There's nothing wrong with that. For a car like this that doesn't need to be driven on the street every day, that'll get the job done just fine. Throw a cam in there, throw a tune on it, it'll make more power than necessary. I've got, if you've noticed here, I've got some stuff going on here that you don't see on a daily driven vehicle. Steering reservoir, steering cooler, and engine oil accumulator are right up front because the radiator is behind the seats. That's what these two big hoses right here are doing. They're running coolant through the transmission tunnel under the passenger seat to the radiator back there. And the reason for that is it keeps the front end nice and compact, helps your visibility a little bit, and having that radiator up here, the fans blow heat onto the engine, and by putting them back there, the fans are just blowing heat away from the car. So it's more of a packaging thing on a car like this than it would be for a daily driven car. All your 4Runners, your Broncos, your Jeeps, they were all built with that there, so there's plenty of room for extra coolers and stuff, but on something like this, you're trying to keep it as small as you can, so there's not a whole lot of room to work with. While we got the hood off, you can see these big old beautiful Radflos. I was able to put a 14-inch shock on the front. I think I'll go up to a 16 someday, but for right now, it works, and I love it. I moved the solenoid, the controller, off of the winch and hid it behind the grill because I like the minimalist look on the front of the car here. And like I said, behind that we've got a General Motors Turbo 400 automatic with a full manual reverse pattern valve body. So this thing does not automatically shift itself. You've got to do all of it yourself. And then it's backed up with an Atlas and then big heavy drive lines and big heavy axle shafts. If you want, we can take a look inside. Mm-hmm. Okay. So the interior on a car like this is usually very Spartan, very utilitarian. There's not much here that doesn't need to be here. The biggest luxury I have is heated PRP seats and super comfortable 5.3 harnesses. Otherwise, it's all business in here. You got a detachable steering wheel, Atlas transfer case shifters, transmission shifter, and these are cutting brakes. We'll go through that real quick. Basically, you've got a shifter for the front axle, low, neutral, high. You've got a shifter for the rear axle, low, neutral, high. So I can put this car in front wheel drive, I can put it in rear wheel drive, I can put them in high range and it'll go 80 miles an hour. I can put it in low range and it'll rock crawl all the cool shit at Sand Hollow, Johnson Valley, all that stuff. Shifter is a Sand Hollow off-road speed shifter. So there's nothing stopping this thing from going all the way to reverse. And the cool part about that is when you're climbing something really steep, say the car starts to come over backwards, you just bang it forward and it goes into reverse and sets itself down. That's a really important safety feature for a rock buggy. Keeps me from going over backwards and wasting time winching the thing back to its wheels. The cutting brakes, these guys are really cool. This is not something you'd see in your daily driven trail rig. What this does is these are individual brake levers for the rear tires. I can lock up one tire, put the rear axle in neutral, and drive in front wheel drive and get this thing to pivot real sharp. It's super helpful on tight trails like Joint Effort up in Sand Hollow over the weekend. I was able to do that and turn the car and put it up on that Z-turn obstacle, and it lines you up just right. Controlling everything on the car is a Switch Pro setup. I love these things. I've got my air compressor, locker, seat heaters, daytime running lights, big lights, rock lights, and my dome light all right there. It got a battery cutoff switch and ignition. It's just a start button and a switch. There's no key for a car like this. It's not really necessary when I can take the steering wheel off and take it with me. And another theft deterrent is the fact that most people don't know how to drive this damn thing. It keeps the riffraff out. I did get a little fancy, and I went with a diamonds tucked suede headliner to match my black suede PRP seats. I was pretty happy about that. It looks really cool up there. The passenger gets a grab handle to keep them from reaching out of the car, because this thing does trails wild enough that reaching out of the car could get you hurt, and you don't want that. So you hold on to that thing and you hope the guy in this seat knows what he's doing. Over here, I've got ball valves to shut off front and rear brakes. So there's a couple reasons for that. Say I'm bashing through the woods and a tree rips off a brake line on the front, I can shut this valve and I still have rear brakes for the rest of the day. It doesn't necessarily end my trip. It also gives you the option to, say I want a big smoky burnout, shut the rear brake off, and then stand on both pedals, and it's locking the front brakes and burning the rear tires. Or vice versa, I can do the same thing in reverse and burn the front tires and help maneuver the thing around on trails. There's little things like that come into effect on a rock buggy that you wouldn't see on your Overland 4Runner or your daily driven JK, but on a car like this, they're super helpful to have. On the back of a car like this, you're not going to find car seats. You're not going to find the little bottle jack and stuff that comes with your Jeep or your Bronco or your Blazer or whatever it may be. We got the important stuff here. We got a fuel tank full of high octane, and we got a cooler full of beverages. And we got enough room here to carry the tools to get us out of a situation on the trail. You're not carrying a whole bunch of extra weight in a rig like this. The whole idea is to keep it as light and minimal as possible, because that increases the vehicle's capabilities. So the back is very Spartan. It's very, very minimalist. If you look over here, you can see that radiator. I've got a big old Griffin radiator tucked in there behind the seat, and the transmission cooler lives behind my seat. Other than that, we've got the Radflo coilovers and Fox bump stops, just like we do on the front. It does the job. It does exactly what I want it to. It's a blast, and I was happy to bring it here and share it with my buddies here at American Off-Road Customs. And run out of words mid-sentence. That's what we're doing here. I just tried to build it with the best parts. You go with the stuff that is going to give you the reliability that you need when you're out there in the desert having fun. You don't want the thing to break and ruin your whole trip. Like such an idiot.